My name is Lesley Collins. I started at this parish when my name was Lesley Monick, and I was in the first kindergarten class here. And our classroom was up in what's now the parish hall, it was then too. And they just pulled the curtains across, and our half was where the stage is. And, in second grade we had First Communion, and I have a picture of us all lined up on the steps outside the church, what was the church, but it's now Berry Hall. I remember Father Barry. I remember him as being a little overweight, rotund, and he had this red hair, dark red, and he always had it combed very neatly, and he would every once in a while get upset with the kids in the academy in particular, and his face would get bright red when he was talking to them about it. Tried to behave ourselves around him. I can remember kneeler practice. At the start of every school year, when we would go to Mass in the old church, and the kids would have a tendency to let kneelers fall, bang, on the floor. And if they were particularly loud, he would get very upset about that. And he would make us all, we'd file out of the church, and he'd make us all file back in again to the places where we were and practice putting the kneelers down quietly. And we didn't get to go to our class until we could do that. We had nuns. We had nuns for, most of the classes were in,
But you had 50 or 60 students in your classroom.
With one nun, yes.
With one nun.
We had long rows of desks.
Wow.
And there was no room to have any other configuration. They had to stay in that configuration.
And what was going to church like here back then when you were a young girl?
It was very crowded, especially at some masses, like I think we had 9 o'clock mass then. And that in the summertime, it got really hot. You try and position yourself near the back door or near the side door so you can get some air circulation. Yeah, the older girls could choose to be in the choir if they wanted. So I remember being up in the choir loft, and we tried to sing in tune, and we had a nun playing the organ up there. It seems so small now. It didn't seem that small when we were kids. Up there, I tried to position myself where I could every once in a while look out the stained glass window, because there was one piece missing. You could look down and see Father Barry's garden, which was this location, and see if there was anybody walking through the garden.
So what is now our church used to be Father Barry's garden.
Yes, this was Father Barry's garden, yeah. There were palm trees and all kinds of things, and a grotto over there, I think, probably close to where that grotto is now. And seemed like the land was maybe a little bit sloped then. I don't remember that exactly, but there were a lot of trees in here. It was nice to look at as we passed by.
And so this church was obviously built at some point. Do you remember how old you were, what grade you were? Were you in high school?
I was in high school by then, yeah.
When this church was built?
This was in the 60s that this was built. Yeah, so I was no longer at the academy.
I believe this church was dedicated in 1966, and that's when we graduated from high school.
So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us how you came to know Lesley?
Alan Collins, her better half. We met in college, and we were in the marching band at San Diego State. So that's how I learned that she was a member of the St. Martin's Parish. And it so happened that one of my fraternity brothers was the choir director here at that time. So I volunteered us both to go to be in the choir. And that's our first date was sort of like coming to choir practice here at St. Martin's. We started dating a little more socially outside of the church then, and eventually we became engaged and got married.
After we got married, we lived other places. We lived in Oklahoma, we lived in Germany for a couple of years, and finally when our oldest daughter started with CCD, we came here because Sister Sean Marie was very welcoming and said, "Oh, come, I don't care where you live, come and it's school here." So we came here despite the fact we live down there.
But the welcome came?
That's right. Mm-hmm. She was very welcoming, everybody was very welcoming, and there were even some of the same people I had known here. Mm-hmm. So
when we got married, we did our pre-Cana with Father Sheehan. And we were never really aware that he had ever left St. Martin. We came back and, well, that was 69 that we did pre-Cana. We came back in 79. Father Sheehan was the pastor here. I was not Catholic, but he sort of volunteered us to co-lead a parenting group on Sundays during CCD. Father Sheehan didn't realize I wasn't Catholic at the time, and so he rushed me through RCIA to become Catholic. He had told me years before, because I had reservations about being Catholic, and he told me, well, people change their minds, and he was right. When we were going together, I had gone to several different churches. I was raised Lutheran. I'd gone to Church of Christ. I had a lot of friends that were Mormon. I'd gone to the Methodists, looking for a place that I felt comfortable. And I found my home here. I felt comfortable here. And so I just decided that this was the place. And the longer I've been here, the more reasons I find become Catholic. I mean, the originally Christian church goes back to the disciples. They were the first popes and pastors of the church. You can't get any closer to the origin of Christianity than that. So that's kind of why I'm here.
You have some pictures of your first kindergarten class. And as you were looking at that kindergarten class, you pointed to at least 4 different people that are still kind of here in this parish today.
And this is the first kindergarten class at St. Martin's Academy.
Very nice. Very nice.
Here's an old picture of the academy.